1. Raw sensation. Touching reality. Before your thoughts clock in for the day, the world is already at work. Light spills through the curtain. The sheet is rougher where it's worn thin. Air slides across your teeth. None of this needs a name to be real. You stand by the sink and let the tap run, and there's a tiny thunder in the pipes and coolness waking your fingers. For a few seconds, you don't have an opinion about any of it. There's only contact. This is the ground floor of consciousness. Infants live here full-time. Adults visit by accident. Cold shower, sudden music, the first bite of something sour. Stay a beat longer than usual and the room gets precise. Not "my back hurts," but a tight stripe along the right shoulder. Not "I'm tired," but heaviness behind the eyes, breath shallow. The labels can come later. For now, you're letting reality arrive before you explain it. Walk to the window. City noise in layers. A bus sighs. A laugh ricochets off brick. Your jaw softens without being told. This is not mystical, it's practical. When you can feel clearly, you stop arguing with what's in front of you. Pain becomes information, not doom. Calm isn't an achievement. It's what shows up when you're not wrestling the moment into a story. Try a small experiment. Pick one sense and lean into it for 60 seconds. Just sight, colors shifting, dust in the sunbeam, or just sound. The refrigerator's low hum, a bird trying 3 notes and giving up. Thoughts will wander in. Fine. Let them. Keep returning to the raw data. You're not trying to be special, you're trying to be accurate. Everything above this level, attention, planning, meaning, stands on this floor. Get the floor steady. And when the labels float back, coffee, schedule, messages, you'll notice they sit a little lighter. The world didn't change. You did. By half an inch, but that's enough to start. 2. Impulse and habit. The autopilot. You reach for your phone before your eyes are fully open. Not a decision, a reflex. Somewhere in the machinery, wake, check. Autopilot steers most of your day, tying shoes, braking at a red light, laughing at your friend's joke before you've clocked the setup. It's not a flaw, it's efficiency. The brain learned loops so you wouldn't need to reinvent breakfast. The trouble starts when a loop runs your life like a script you didn't write. You say you're just looking and 20 minutes evaporate. A text lands sharp and your fingers draft a defense before you've felt the sting. The old pattern has a good pitch. I'll protect you. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it keeps you small. You can't outmuscle reflexes, but you can put a hand on the wheel. Watch yourself reach for the phone again. Don't scold. Just name it in plain language, almost like you're narrating a documentary. Urge to check. Then breathe out longer than you breathe in, 3 times. That tiny wedge between cue and action is the doorway to choice. If the loop is useful, seatbelt at the ding, hands at 10 and 2, let it run. If it isn't, make a trade. After 10 focused minutes, I'll scroll. Half the time, the itch is gone by then. The other half, you'll choose it on purpose, and that's already different. Picture yourself in the kitchen tonight. You open the fridge out of habit, not hunger, habit. The light hits your face and you catch the moment before it carries you. Urge to snack. 3 long exhales. Maybe you still grab the yogurt. Maybe you decide you were just bored and you walk instead. Either way, you are the one who chose. That's the point. Autopilot is a good driver on clear highways. You just don't hand it the keys in a storm. 3. Focused attention. The spotlight. There's a desk. A problem sits on it, waiting. A tricky bug, a paragraph that won't land, a riff your fingers keep smudging. You move the phone out of arm's reach. You decide what done looks like. 1 test passing, 150 clean words, the riff slowed to half speed without mistakes, and you point your mind like a flashlight. The beam is narrow by design. Time compresses a little. You notice what you couldn't at full speed. The off by 1 in the loop, the sentence that's doing 2 jobs badly, the lazy finger that keeps missing the string. 10 honest minutes in this tunnel beats an hour of grazing. You start to feel momentum, and that feeling, small as it is, feeds the next block. Focus has a couple of booby traps. The first is tunnel vision, so tight you lose context. That's why you lift your head halfway through, unclench your jaw, take water, and check if the target is still the target. The second trap is novelty. The brain's love affair with anything shiny. Tabs multiply. A quick look becomes a detour. So you make dumb rules smarter than you. Phone stays in the other room until the finish line. Browser stays closed until you've earned a peek. Not because the internet is evil, because your attention is valuable and leaks on contact. Imagine the moment the test turns green or the paragraph clicks into place. It's not fireworks. It's relief with a little spark. You stop exactly there. Stand up, walk, let your eyes look far. The pause is as part of focus as the push. Then you come back and aim the beam again. Focus is not a personality trait, it's a thing you practice. And when you practice, your work stops being a fog and starts being a trail you can actually follow. 4. Goal task mind. Plans that move. Now, the camera zooms out. Focus is a single brick. This level is the wall. You've got exams ahead, a project due, a body to take care of, a life to actually live. It's easy to get drunk on lists. Pages of chores that feel like progress because pens squeak and boxes get checked. But busyness is a costume. Results are what count. Sit down with a plain page. Write in one line what must exist by Friday. Not work on chapter, but chapter 3 draft exists. Not get in shape, but 3 workouts done, logged. The line should be clear enough that a stranger could say whether you hit it. Then break it into the smallest next moves. Open the editor, create the file, sketch the outline, write the first ugly paragraph. When it's that small, your brain stops negotiating. You just do it. You'll be tempted to decorate your calendar until it looks productive. Don't. Make room on purpose. Kill one task every morning that won't move the needle. Plans breathe. The world will ignore your perfect schedule and throw you a surprise. That's fine. You adjust without drama and keep the one-line target in view. Watch how this plays out on a Wednesday. You plan to study 2 chapters, but the first takes longer because you finally understood something you kept pretending to understand. Good. You learned. You slide the second chapter to tomorrow and protect your workout. Health isn't a luxury, it's fuel for thinking. At night, you glance over your page, a few clean lines, some ugly work that exists now, one thing canceled on purpose. You feel a quiet click. Agency. Not the rush of, look how busy I am, but the steadier pleasure of, I aim, I move, I land. 5. Narrative self. Authoring I. There's a voice in your head that strings your days together into a plot. It's the part of you that says, I'm the kind of person who, and fills in the blank with whatever you've believed long enough. It's useful. Story is how we remember, plan, endure. You can take a failure and place it in a frame that turns weight into direction. You can take a heartbreak and let it teach you how to love cleaner next time. The danger is forgetting the frame is a frame. Picture 2 versions of the same week. In the first, you bomb a test, skip the gym twice, and send a text you regret. The story writes itself. I'm falling apart. Classic me. That plot steals the pen from your hand. In the second version, the facts don't change. What changes is the narration. I hit a wall I didn't see. It showed me exactly where my map is thin. I'm embarrassed about the text. I'll repair it tomorrow. I'm still the person who keeps promises. I missed 2. Same data, different author. And the author matters because the author chooses the next scene. If you've never caught your story in the act, try this. Grab a page and write the week in blunt, unpoetic sentences. No explanations, just facts and the meaning you're giving them. Then rewrite it with equal honesty but a wiser angle. Cut the melodrama. Keep the responsibility. End with a choice for tomorrow that's small enough to do. Review chapter 4 at 10. Apologize by 12. Walk at 18. That's not pretending everything's fine. That's aiming the plot where you actually want to go. You are not trying to erase your story. You're trying to hold it lightly. When someone you trust gives you feedback that pokes your identity, you'll feel the flare. Are they saying I'm not who I think I am? Maybe they are. A little. Maybe they're handing you a better script. Take what's true, leave what's not, and keep writing. The page is yours, but the day is real. Live it first. Narrate after. 6. Social mirror. The crowd in your head. You're halfway through a story at dinner and you can feel it. The table leaning in. Someone laughs early, someone else nods a little too hard, and now you're editing on the fly, trimming the boring parts, punching the landing. It works. Plates clatter and you get that warm, fizzy glow of being seen. The social mirror is generous like that. It teaches timing, tone, how to read a room without a single rule book. But when you walk home, the mirror follows. You replay the night, hunting for a flinch you didn't make, a line you could have delivered cleaner. By the time you brush your teeth, you've turned a pleasant meal into an audition you'll never get results for. That's the quiet trap. The crowd takes up residence in your head and starts charging rent. The mirror isn't the enemy. Without it, we'd be feral, missing birthdays, talking over funerals, wearing soccer cleats to job interviews. The trick is to use the reflection without mistaking it for a verdict. Try a small private test the next time a choice has you tangled. What would you do if nobody ever knew? Then what would you do if everyone knew? Somewhere between those answers is a line with your name on it. You don't have to shout it, you just have to step across. Watch yourself tomorrow at work or school. A group opinion rolls through the room and you feel the tug to nod. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't. You can still be kind, you can still belong, you can also keep your center. The mirror will always have an opinion. That's its job. Your job is to smile at your reflection, straighten your collar, and walk out the door you meant to use in the first place. 7. Rule-based conformist. The right way, most of the time. There's comfort in a checklist. Airplanes land safely because someone just wrote steps and people follow them. Kitchens stay clean, streets mostly orderly, because we agree on how we do things here. Growing up, rules are a life raft. Say please, wait your turn, don't swing your backpack in a crowded bus. You learn the rhythm and society hums. Then there's that afternoon where the rhythm is wrong. Your friend is technically late, but the bus broke down. The policy says no exceptions, and the person at the desk, eyes on the laminated card, shrugs. Rules defend fairness until they defend laziness. You feel the heat rise because the right way suddenly means the wrong result. You don't have to become a rebel to step past this stage. You just have to remember why the rule exists. Traffic lights aren't about lights, they're about not dying. If the power's out, we treat the intersection like a four-way stop, not a religion. Same with life. Some rules earn obedience, others invite respectful exceptions. That phrase matters. The point isn't to make yourself special. It's to serve the purpose the rule was written for, when the rule itself can't. Picture a younger version of you in a school uniform, shirt tucked, shoes shined, doing it all right. That person kept you safe. Thank them. Now picture yourself today holding the door a little longer than the sign says because someone's limping 20 meters back. No committee vote, no halo, just judgment in service of the point. Order that bends toward good is stronger than order that refuses to look. 8. Abstract analytical. The balcony view. Some problems won't yield to try harder. You have to climb the balcony and look down. From up here, the code stops being a wall of characters and starts being a set of flows. The argument isn't a tangle of feelings. It's two models colliding, yours and theirs. Patterns appear. Edge cases wave at you. You sketch a box, draw arrows, and for a minute, the world behaves. It's addictive. On the balcony, ambiguity shrinks and you feel clever. If X, then Y. Define terms. Check assumptions. You start speaking in clean lines and the mess of life rolls its eyes. Because downstairs, the coffee is still too hot, someone you love is still tired, and your back still tightens at the same sentence, no matter how elegantly you diagram it. So you learn to commute, up to see structure, down to touch reality. You test your bright idea against the stubbornness of the world. Does this model survive contact with the shop floor, the classroom, the kitchen sink? If not, you adjust the model instead of yelling at the sink. There's a quiet joy in doing this well. You notice that the bug wasn't random. It was an off-by-one waiting in a loop. You catch that the fight wasn't about toothpaste. It was about unspoken expectations shaped by two different households. Balcony doesn't make you superior. It makes you useful if you remember to climb back down and fix the thing with your actual hands. 9. Metacognition. Noticing the narrator. A thought pops up. You're going to blow this. Before, you would have believed it on sight. Now you watch it like a bus pulling into the station. Doors slide open. You don't have to get on. The sentence hangs there, familiar and a little sad, and you feel the oddest thing, space. Metacognition is the part of you that can see the part of you that's thinking. It doesn't mean you turn into a statue. It means you notice in real time that your mind is pitching you a story with a very catchy hook. You can thank it for its service and choose a different station. Take yesterday's spiral. One awkward message and your head built a 4-act tragedy about your future. You didn't choose the first wave. Brains produce weather. But at some point you realized, oh, I'm rehearsing doom. That single sentence, said gently, not as a scold, changed the texture of the moment. You took 3 long exhales, you returned to the email you were writing. The sky didn't clear, but the storm stopped steering the car. There's a small hazard here. Analysis can curl into itself, and you end up thinking about thinking about thinking. That's not awareness, that's a hamster wheel with a philosophy degree. So pair the noticing with a move. See the worry, put 1 brick on the project. Hear the self-critique, send 1 honest text. Metacognition's gift isn't cleverness. It's freedom, the kind that lets you act while the weather passes through. 10. Emotional literacy. Feelings with handles. You walk into a day carrying a weight that doesn't have a name yet. By lunch, you've called it anger, and your jaw is doing that thing again. Later, on a quiet bus, you realize it isn't anger at all. It's disappointment with a side of worry. Anger was just the fastest mask. Naming precisely is not a cosmetic trick, it's leverage. Sad lands like a fog. Grief is heavier, but it has a direction. Something mattered and is gone. Anxious is static. I'm scared the exam will expose what I don't know is uncomfortable, but suddenly actionable. You can study, ask for help, plan rest. Feelings don't vanish when labeled, but they stop being a faceless crowd. Your body is the first dictionary. Tight throat, hollow belly, hot cheeks. These are old signals, older than language. You can listen without swallowing the whole radio. Stay with a sensation long enough to know where it lives and whether it moves. You'll notice that most emotions are waves. They rise, crest, and pass when you don't keep them on life support with catastrophic thinking. The performance trap waits nearby, turning feelings into theater for approval or into identity. I'm just an anxious person. Resist both. Emotions are messengers, not monarchs. Let them deliver the letter and step out. Sometimes the letter says you need water and sleep. Sometimes it says you broke a promise to yourself. Either way, you get to answer. Picture the evening version of you, writing a simple line before bed. What did I feel? Where did I feel it? What did it ask of me? No grand confessions, no points scored, just handles on the day. Tomorrow you'll pick them up with less fumbling. That's the whole play. Not to be unshakable, but to be honest and steady while the ground does what ground does. 11. Embodied awareness. Living from the inside out. Your phone buzzes with an unknown number, and before your mind decides anything, your body already has an opinion. Breath snags. Shoulders inch to your ears. The body is the earliest newsroom. Headlines land there first. Embodied awareness is the moment you stop treating that newsroom like background noise and start reading the paper. Try it in a small, ordinary scene. You're walking to class, coffee in hand, thoughts sprinting ahead to 3 different futures. Pause mid-stride. Feel each foot meet the ground. Notice the swing of your arms. Lengthen the exhale just a touch and watch the chest loosen like someone opened a window. You didn't solve life, you adjusted the instrument you'll use to play it. In the exam hall, your brain reaches for panic while your body quietly offers knobs to turn. Soften the jaw, widen the gaze, drop the shoulders away from the ears. That widening, literally taking in more of the room, signals the nervous system that the saber-toothed tiger is not, in fact, inside the calculus problem. A calm body doesn't guarantee a calm mind, but it's excellent bait. You start to catch patterns, how certain people make your breath go shallow, how late-night scrolling leaves your neck feeling like braided rope, how a 5-minute walk resets your mood more reliably than any argument with yourself. The point isn't to become a control freak of posture and pulse. It's to let the body co-lead. When you treat it as a partner, discipline stops feeling like warfare and starts feeling like alignment, a spine that stacks, a breath that moves, and a day that meets you at eye level. Hanush 12. Values principled. The chosen. Why? At some point, you get tired of outsourcing your compass. You try pleasing the crowd, you try hacking productivity, and the day still wobbles because the center is rented, not owned. Values change that. They're the few sentences you'd like to be true about you, even when it's expensive. Picture a messy Wednesday. You promised a friend you'd help them prep, but a can't-miss invite hits your phone. The social mirror wants the shiny room. Task mind wants the calendar win. Then the quiet thing you chose weeks ago clears its throat. I keep my word. Suddenly, the decision is simple, not easy. You show up with takeout and a tired smile. No audience, no hashtag. On the way home, you feel that specific kind of tired that doesn't rot your bones. Values aren't slogans. They're constraints that make life easier to steer. Tell the truth doesn't mean confess every passing thought. It means stop manufacturing versions of yourself for short-term comfort. Serve the good nearby doesn't mean save the world before breakfast. It means take responsibility for the square meter you actually touch. You'll get it wrong sometimes. Context matters. Mercy matters. But having a chosen why beats getting yanked around by the loudest why of the hour. Write a handful. 2 lines, not 20. Tape them somewhere you'll bump into them. When a choice hurts, read them out loud. If you break them, repair quickly. This isn't about being perfect, it's about being predictable to yourself. A day run by values feels plain from the outside. From the inside, it feels like walking on roads you built yourself. 13. Creative Imaginal, the workshop behind your eyes. Every good idea shows up looking underdressed. A crooked line in a notebook, a 3-note melody hummed into your phone at a red light, a ridiculous sketch that accidentally solves a layout problem. Creativity isn't a lightning strike, it's a workshop, a messy one, where images, scraps, and metaphors bump into each other until something clicks. You sit down to make anything and your inner critic clears its throat like a disappointed conductor. Fine, give it a chair in the back and start with play. Set constraints that make the room feel smaller and safer. Write 150 words in 5 minutes, no deleting. Rework the function with 1 fewer loop. Draw the city with only squares. Your brain loves rules it can dance against. Notice how your day feeds the workshop. The way sunlight pools on a tile becomes a color palette. The way your friend apologized becomes a dialogue beat for a scene you haven't written yet. The trick is to capture, tiny and fast, before the moment dissolves. Notes app, index card, corner of a receipt. Later, when the well feels dry, you'll find those crumbs like a map back to water. There will be afternoons where everything you make is slightly worse than you hoped. Good. That means you're standing on the edge of your current ability, where growth actually happens. Keep your standards high and your drafting brutal. Protect the hour from perfectionism by promising it an edit tomorrow. Then deliver that edit. Beauty arrives for people who show up at the same table in all weathers without needing applause to keep their hands moving. 14. Systems thinking. Loops and levers. You start to see that life behaves less like a list and more like plumbing. Push here, pressure changes there. Skip sleep, watch willpower leak into the carpet all day. Add morning study blocks, grades lift, and oddly, your evenings unclench. These aren't isolated events, they're loops. Stand in your kitchen and squint like an engineer. Dishes pile, sink looks hostile, you avoid cooking, more takeout, less energy, more piles. That's a reinforcing loop in the wrong direction. Where's the lever? Maybe it's a 2-minute rinse rule after every meal. Maybe it's one big reset Sunday night with a stupidly upbeat playlist. The smallest lever on the shortest loop wins because you get feedback fast. Zoom out. Your team keeps shipping late. You can whip harder or you can map the flow. Unclear specs, rework, morale dips, communication shrinks, more unclear specs. The fix isn't heroics, it's one good spec template and a 10-minute kickoff ritual. Suddenly deadlines stop being enemies and start being signposts. Systems thinking doesn't make you a cynic who sighs, everything's connected, and does nothing. It makes you hopeful in a grown-up way. You look for the place where one intentional tweak cascades into many small wins. You measure, you adjust. You remember that you live inside systems too, body, calendar, friendships, and that changing the water is often smarter than blaming the fish. 15. Witness observer, the quiet seat in the back row. Some evenings you sit on the edge of your bed, shoes off, and it's like you can hear your whole day at once. The rush, the mistakes, the 2 bright minutes you almost forgot. Thoughts pass in little parades. Feelings rise like weather and drift. And there's another part of you, quieter, older, just watching. This isn't floating above your life like a drone. It's sitting in the back row of your own theater and realizing you don't have to run on stage and fix every scene. The actor forgets a line, the audience member breathes, the storm rolls in, the mountain doesn't chase the cloud. Try it during a hard moment. Someone says the exact sentence that usually hooks you. You feel the surge, the script unspooling. Then you notice, barely in time, ah, Here comes the movie where I defend myself for 3 hours. You don't need a perfect line, you need 2 seconds of witnessing. Feel both feet, widen your gaze, let your breath lengthen on the way out. You may still speak. You probably should, but you'll be speaking from the seat, not the stampede. The danger here is confusing witness with withdrawal, using "I'm just observing" as camouflage for not caring. The clean version has warmth in it. You see yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a friend who's learning to ride a bike. Wobbly is part of it. The more often you visit this seat, the less often your life feels like an emergency. Ordinary moments get brighter edges. Decisions get honest quickly. And the day, even when it's loud, has a silence inside it you can sit in without needing to escape. 16. Flow, unity, and action. When doing, does you picture a late afternoon in a quiet room? The timer's set, the phone's gone, the problem is sharp enough to bite. You drop into the work and something gentle clicks. The edges between you and the task blur. Fingers type and you're not instructing them. The riff loops and the hand corrects itself mid-note. The basketball leaves your palm on the break and you already know it's good. You're not thinking about impressing anyone, not thinking much at all. Time does a magic trick. It stretches when you look up and shrinks when you look back. Flow isn't luck, it's a fit. Challenge tall enough to make you reach. Skills sturdy enough to catch you when you do. Too easy and you get bored. Too hard and you tighten. Somewhere in the clean middle, attention locks and the work carries you. The room is smaller. The world is bigger. And for a few minutes, effort feels like gliding downhill. You'll be tempted to chase this state like a high. Don't. Chasing breaks it. Flow shows up when you build the conditions and then stop begging. Clear goal, instant feedback, consequences that aren't catastrophic. You miss the note, you miss the note, you try again. The test fails, you read the output and fix the line. One small gate after another, opening. When the timer goes, you don't muscle another set out of pride. You stop while there's still music in the instrument. Stand, drink water, look far out a window. The mind hates endings, give it one on purpose. Flow will return. Not as a reward for worthiness, just as a natural side effect of you meeting a worthy problem with your whole attention. On some days, it'll be glorious. On most, it'll be ordinary, writing a clean loop, plating a simple meal, just right. That's the secret. Unity hides in plain tasks when you meet them all the way. 17. Shadow integration. Meeting the parts you hide. It starts with a flinch you think belongs to someone else. A peer posts their win and out of nowhere, your chest tightens. You hear a voice you swear isn't yours. Petty, sharp, small. You want to swat it away. I'm not like that. But the more you exile a feeling, the more it raids the village at night. The shadow isn't a movie monster. It's the drawer where you shove traits that didn't fit the costume. Envy, need, anger, hunger, tenderness, ambition. Some of it you hid to stay safe, some to stay loved. Integration is walking into that drawer with the light on and saying, okay, what here is dangerous and what here is simply unloved strength. Jealousy, for example, is crude radar. It points at what you want but won't admit. If you pretend you're above it, it leaks sideways into gossip or quiet sabotage. If you name it, it turns into information. Oh, I want that level of skill, that kind of trust, that freedom. Now you can choose a path toward it without dimming anyone else. Anger, too, has clean versions. Rage burns down rooms. Clean anger draws a line that protects them and you. The difference isn't volume, it's aim. Aim it at truth and boundaries, not at winning a scene. There's a tenderness in this work you don't expect. You remember the kid who learned to be low maintenance so nobody would leave. You see how much brilliance got packed away so you wouldn't outshine someone you loved. You can't fix the past. You can greet the old contract and write a better one. Name the part. Own it without theatrics. Aim it at good work, good love, good service. The monster turns out to be a guard dog with no training. Teach it to sit by the door, thank it for the bark, don't let it drive the car. 18. Compassion, awe, transpersonal. More than me. Sometimes the world widens without asking permission. A choir note lifts and the hair on your arms rises. You walk out under a cold, star-punched sky and feel smaller in a way that doesn't diminish you. Or you're on the bus and a stranger stumbles and your body is already standing before your mind votes. For a breath, me and not me loosen. The border stays, but the gate swings open. Compassion isn't about being nice. It's the clear recognition that other people are as real as you are, and that their pain is, in some way, yours to shoulder for a step or two when you can. Awe isn't about spectacle. It's the accurate reaction to a universe larger and stranger than your plans. Together, they tune you, less brittle, more brave. The trap here is grandiosity. The moment you start auditioning for sainthood, you've wandered off. Keep it local, bring soup. Reply to the message you keep postponing because you're afraid of saying the wrong thing. Offer the ride. Pay for the coffee behind you if you can. None of this fixes the world. It fixes the habit of looking away. And let awe work on you like sand on glass. Go somewhere big sometimes. Ocean, mountains, cathedral, mosque, a dark field an hour outside the city. Let your problems shrink to their true size, not as dismissal, but as relief. You'll come home carrying a silence that makes courage easier. The next hard conversation won't be smaller, you'll be steadier inside it. More than me doesn't erase you, it right-sizes you, and from that size, service doesn't feel like sacrifice, it feels like belonging. 19. Stillness surrender, letting the river carry what it must. There's a kind of quiet you can't manufacture. You clear the desk, dim the light, sit, breathe. And for a while, the mind keeps hurling headlines. Then sometimes it stops insisting on being in charge. A sentence you've pushed all week loosens its grip. A problem that wouldn't budge shifts half a degree. The room doesn't get holy. It gets honest. Surrender is one of those words that scares people who like control. Fair, it should. But we surrender outcomes, not effort. You still show up for the set, the study block, the apology. You just stop bargaining with the future for a guarantee. I'll do this if you promise me that. No promise is coming. You do it anyway because it's the right next step. Prayer, whether your version includes God's name or not, is what happens when you admit the limits of your steering wheel. You say thanks for the things you didn't create. You say help for the weight you can't lift alone. You say sorry when you see the mess you made. None of this is performative. It's maintenance for a soul that's been grinding its gears. Try it at the end of a day you can't wrestle into sense. Sit on the floor, palms open on your knees like you're not hiding anything from yourself. Breathe a little longer out than in and quietly lay down the thing you keep clenching. You're not quitting. You're letting the river carry what only rivers can. Tomorrow, you'll pick the tools back up. Tonight, you sleep without white-knuckling your life. Everyday non-dual integration. Nothing special, everything clear. By now, the ladder looks tall. Here's the twist. At the top, it circles back to the ground. Ordinary life, unornamented, coffee, commute, code, class, dishes, becomes the practice and the payoff. Not because you lowered your standards, but because the walls between practice and life fell down. You catch yourself washing a mug, and for 3 seconds, there's no commentator explaining the scene. There's heat in your hands, weight, a small glint of sunlight in the swirl. That's it. Then the narrator returns as it will, and you smile because you didn't need fireworks to know you were here. The person who can sit still can also sprint. The one who can enter flow can also fold laundry with care. The same attention, the same honesty, the same chosen why. Integration doesn't mean you hover above mistakes. You'll still snap sometimes, still forget the line you meant to keep, still want the shiny thing that doesn't actually feed you. The difference is shorter lag. You notice sooner, repair faster, and return without a dramatic trial. Each level you've walked becomes a tool on a pegboard, sensation to ground you, habit skills to carry the dull parts, focus for work that matters, values to steer, witness to keep the room spacious, compassion to keep the heart soft, stillness to keep trusting when results are slow. You don't announce this to anyone. Nothing outwardly fancy happens. But people who spend time with you notice. You return to yourself quickly. You treat them like they matter. You do what you said, mostly. When you fail, you say so and try again. The video ends, the credits roll, and you close the laptop to find the same room you started in. Only now, it's in focus, and so are you.